Hello, friends, and welcome to the very first episode of the Timist Podcast Series. My name is James, and I am the Timist and the host of the thing that you're currently listening to. I'm a watch enthusiast as well as an automotive journalist, but my day job is that of a video game producer. In this series, we'll be exploring the wonderful world of watches. We'll be speaking about current watch industry topics, discussing new releases, and asking the interesting questions. But more importantly, and above everything else, is the fact that I will not be doing it alone. I'll be joined by a rotating roster of guests, all having different backgrounds and areas of expertise. From ADs to watchmakers, collectors, and enthusiasts, we'll be diving into topics that I'm sure will keep you informed and entertained. Worst case, you've got something to listen to while you try and fall asleep. Because that's right, we've got jokes here as well. Now, they may not be good jokes, but they're jokes nonetheless because, you know what, we do not take ourselves too seriously here. This is something we do for fun, born from a place of passion for the hobby. In this episode, I'll introduce you to my very first guest. We'll discuss the Travis Scott AP Watch collaboration. We'll go behind the curtain and find out what a dream maker moment is. We'll also argue about which complication is the best and the worst. And I close things out with a world premiere for my channel, as we have front row seats to someone receiving the call for their brand new Rolex live on air. All this and more. So, with a preamble and housekeeping out of the way, please sit back and relax, grab a drink and a snack while I take the honor of introducing our very first guest. Conor, welcome to the Timist Podcast Series. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, and I'm super happy to be here. Do you want me to call you James or the Timist? Because honestly, I use both pretty interchangeably. What's going to make the most sense?
Yeah, that's a good question. It is the first episode. Call me James.
All right.
Just don't call me Shirley. I'm so glad you're here. We've talked about doing this for quite some time now, and it's finally happening.
Yeah, I mean, all good ideas are good ideas, and then sometimes they actually happen. And this is one of those things that's actually happening, so all we can do now is not screw it up.
Please tell us a bit about yourself, your professional background, and maybe describe to our viewers and listeners the watch that you're currently wearing.
So, my name's Conor, from Seattle, and currently I am a multi-brand authorized dealer for a host of different watches. A place I also work at sells jewelry as well, and so there is a host of different products and kind of brands that I work with on a regular basis. This is a career change for me. I used to be in education, and I stopped doing that, and I decided to pursue another passion of mine, which is watches. And so that's how I got into this career. It's also how I met you and so many other really interesting people, and kind of not by design, but I've found an entire community of people who have this as a hobby. There's so much interesting things with watches, even that people who have a great understanding of watches can teach me, which is so cool. I'm never feeling like the smartest person in the room when it comes to watches, but there is just so much out there that's so fun to get into, and I really love that. Today I'm wearing my Omega Speedmaster. Omega is a brand I no longer work with, but my first job in authorized dealing, is that a term? It's probably a term.
Definitely.
Yeah. Did work with Omega, and I really appreciate those guys. I am a huge fan of the Speedmaster. I just love a 3 sub-dial chronograph. I don't have the current model. I have the one before that, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I went Hesalite because I want to be able to take this to space with me.
Right.
And, you know, it's just one of those watches, well, like all my watches, but I wouldn't part with it. I wouldn't sell it. I wouldn't trade it. I'm going to beat it up, and I'm going to scratch it, and I'm going to wear it proudly, and I always do. And, you know, I wear it when I dress casual clothing on my day off, or I wear it when I wear a suit on my days on, and it works every time. Get a lot of compliments on it, but truthfully, I just enjoy the dang thing.
I mean, it's an Omega Speedmaster. It's the Moonwatch. Can you go wrong?
No. Honestly, you can't. Leather strap, rubber strap, steel strap. It looks good. It works good. And frankly, I think the thing that really makes me love this watch compared to even similar chronographs is that it's hand wound. It's beautifully thin. It's got those retro vibes to it, but it's still a modern day watch. Honestly, I wouldn't change a thing about it. I don't want a date function. Even though it is an appreciated function, I don't want to change a single thing about it. I just want to wear it, and I'm happy to have it.
Well, it looks fantastic on you, and thank you for walking us through that. I think there's going to be a lot of listeners and viewers that can relate to the versatility and the just universal appeal that is the Omega Speedmaster. I don't like speaking in absolutes. I'm no Sith, but many watch enthusiasts will argue that a watch box should not be devoid of a Speedmaster. Again, I don't promote that kind of thinking. I think no one should tell you what you need to have in your watch box. But it's hard to argue with something so pretty and so just a Swiss Army knife of watches, so to speak. And I'm glad that you went with the Hesalite version because, well, we won't spoil it for the viewers and the listeners, but I have something similar, just not the Hesalite version. I have the Sapphire version, but more on that in the future.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, and thank you for telling us a bit about yourself. Shall we potentially maybe go into the next topic, which is the news?
Yeah, bring on the news.
What's on your mind?
So, working in an authorized dealer of any watch, you're going to get people who come in, they just want to talk watches. Hey, have you seen this? Have you seen that? It's one of the joys of the job to be able to have this thing, this hobby, this collection, this thing you're passionate about, being able to engage with it in a professional environment, but also just casually. Not everything's about sales, it's about connections. And the topic that's really been on everyone's mind the last couple of weeks has been the announcement of the new Audemars Piguet Travis Scott collaboration, or I guess potentially it's a Cactus Jack collaboration, which kind of Cactus Jack is Travis Scott, but it's his brand. It was released in a capsule alongside some clothing and a few other items sold by the Cactus Jack brand. So obviously the watch is what we're here to talk about, but there's a larger kind of, I suppose, drop of merch that also came out the exact same time.
That is very interesting. So I purposefully didn't read too much about it, so I'm not going to be as up to date with all the deets. That's what the cool kids say, deets.
They do.
But are you telling me that Cactus Jack, a brand of Travis Scott that sells clothing, offered this watch for sale or no?
No, the watch is only sold by AP. And to be fair, saying it's sold by AP is accurate, but it's such a limited production. I think 201 watches, I want to say off the top of my head. Don't quote me on that, but it was some extremely small number. It was pre-sold. This is a watch that we will see on celebrities, on influencers, even the ultra rich with relationships to AP. I would not assume will be getting their hands on this watch, nor do I think that's the purpose of this watch.
Because maybe price entry barrier, perhaps? What does it retail for?
220 or 201,000, something like that. No, I mean, we're talking about Audemars Piguet. We're talking about a ceramic Royal Oak.
Right.
We are not talking about, I would get that watch, but I can't afford it, right? If you are being offered this watch by AP, the budget is not your consideration. Right? Most likely you have many watches from AP and a long relationship, no doubt in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. So it's an expensive watch, but what do you expect?
I expect it to not be brown. Let's talk about the color.
All right, so brown ceramic. Yeah, okay. Not only is it brown ceramic, it's brown ceramic on a brown leather strap. Might be a pebbled leather. It does not have a ceramic bracelet. My personal opinion, the leather strap on ceramic APs is not my favorite look. The brown is unique. I don't believe they've done a brown before. I cannot think of someone else who's done a brown ceramic, but I'm not going to say that they invented it or the first to do it. Other brands have come out with some very unique ceramic colors in the past, and that's one of the cool advantages of ceramic, is that you can put this color on there or in there, or I don't really know how ceramic works, but you can do this cool color effect. And unlike, say, if you do some sort of DLC coating on a steel or on a titanium, if you scratch it, it's brown underneath.
Right.
So you're not having to worry about just this top layer. Now, the watch itself,
yeah,
I think there's kind of two considerations, right? There's There's the nature of the collaboration, which is its own unique partnership between someone I would describe as a younger, relevant, it's a hip hop artist, but it's a celebrity, and a very old school Swiss conservative watch brand.
Right.
Now, AP is not the most conservative, and I don't mean that in a political sense. I mean that in kind of a lifestyle choice of,
Many
ties and black suits and clean cut.
100%.
So the nature of the collaboration is very unique. I think that I could understand. Travis Scott has done collaborations with huge companies before, McDonald's, Nike. They were extremely successful. The shoes he made resale for many times. Even the kind of the Happy Meal toys that came out with his McDonald's drop, there's resale on those. Notably, both the Nike drops and the McDonald's drop also had, similar to the watch, Cactus Jack clothing.
Okay.
Shirts and maybe some other stuff that dropped with it that also have a high resale value because people are really interested in it. And of course, it's very limited.
I must say, and like right now in this very moment, I feel very old. I'm sub 40, but I feel so disconnected from what is happening. Like the first thought that pops into my mind, and not to derail, but the target audience for a 200+ K watch. I'm just envisioning like a stadium full of enthusiasts, of fans, of music lovers of Travis Scott. And I'm trying to picture the type of watches that they have on their wrists going to like one of the concerts. And then I remember you saying 201 pieces worldwide, also 220K retail. And I don't know where the overlap is, where the things kind of connect. I hear AP, and the clientele that I'm envisioning is not a concert goer to Travis Scott.
And I think that's not inaccurate, but again, I think that's why there's two different conversations here. There's the watch itself, which I think you're talking about right now. Who's buying this watch, and what is their relationship to Travis Scott? And the fact that there's this other conversation, which is that Audemars Piguet collaborated with Travis Scott, not for a piece unique. They didn't make him something special. They made essentially a product line for him, an open-worked, perpetual calendar, brown ceramic watch. Now, extremely limited, so it's not as if they made 1,000 or 10,000, but it's Audemars Piguet. They don't make thousands of anything. So I think, in my mind, what I'm going to assume AP sought for with this collaboration was legitimacy, and in some ways maybe a thank you to what the hip-hop community has done for the Royal Oak.
Interesting.
Because the Royal Oak and the AP is a very popular watch with the hip-hop crowd, with people who are going to that concert. They may not all be wearing one. Obviously they're not, because they're insanely expensive. But they're very popular. They're
An
known.
aspirational endeavor of sorts, of something that pairs well with let's say the last 5 years of flex culture, maybe. Like, you have that on your wrist. It might not be the open worked brown ceramic version 200K, but it is an AP, something that potentially, with enough savings and enough, hustling, let's say, you'd be able to put together a little bag of 40, 50K, and then you would just blow it on an AP. And
people do that all the time. Now, so that's the nature of the collaboration. What I assume, like I said earlier, there's that kind of like credit to the community. I also think it's a sign that AP is, I don't want to use the word desperate because I don't know the inner workings of their business. They're obviously extremely well known in the watch community. They produce incredibly high caliber watches. But we've had this conversation before. In the current lineup, when we really talk about AP, we're talking about a watch. We are rarely talking about a watch brand. Because when I talk about a watch brand, the way I might speak of Longines, as I'm talking about a series of watches at a series of price ranges for different target audiences. Here's a dive watch that's 42 millimeters. Here's a pilot's watch that's 38 millimeters. Here's a watch designed for maybe a more female clientele that's kind of like a Cartier tank or something like that. Like a watch brand makes many different watches. And so does AP. James?
Yeah.
Can you name another watch from AP that's not the Royal Oak?
I can.
Offshore doesn't count.
Okay. The Code 1159.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Got any more? And I'm not saying this to mess with you.
Right.
You know a lot about watches.
Sure.
You are very deep into this game.
And,
we're recording a podcast together because
yeah.
you're somewhat of an influencer.
Oh, no, don't. No,
we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But the point is, it's a really popular brand, but it kind of has one watch.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I think instead of this interesting collaboration, I think they should make another cool watch. And I mean, I know it's easy for me to say, hey guys, just make a new watch. But instead of trying to hook up with the Marvel community, trying to hook up with the hip hop community, prove that you're not a one-trick pony, that you've got other stuff, that you can do more. I would love to see that from AP. That would be exciting. This Travis Scott thing is cool, but how long is it going to hold our attention for? The watches are already gone. We'll see them on cool celebrities in the next few months, maybe years.
You know what just hit me? I'm having this thought, and it kind of ties into what good is it to win the battle if you're going to lose the war? And I'm thinking it won't do us much good to reshuffle that money that would have gone into the collaboration with Travis Scott to potentially build a new model line, to freshen up our product portfolio, to have something else that is not a Royal Oak derivative. What good is it to invest that time and money if we do not capture the hearts, the minds, if we do not imprint ourselves into the next generation of watch collectors? If that market doesn't exist, if those hungry watch enthusiasts aren't present, it doesn't matter if we have a new watch to join our portfolio or not. It's like, build the next generation and then worry about what you're going to feed them.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, because I can't understand, like the Marvel series, right? Again, hyper exclusive. You get offered the opportunity to spend your money. You don't just walk in and do that, right? Not everyone is a John Mayer. Not everyone is a, what's the other guy's name?
Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran. Oh my God.
John Mayer Jr.
John Mayer Jr. Yeah. I know his name. I do know his name. I'm not, again.
You got the poster on the wall.
Yeah. Sure. But like this is it's also interesting because the current CEO is he's on his way out.
This is the last watch.
This is the last
work on, or whatever his input was with the brand. Okay, now the watch itself.
Yeah.
So it's an open work perpetual calendar. It's brown ceramic, like we talked about. I think the thing that makes it most unique beyond the brown is that the lettering is all kind of in this Travis Scott font, so to speak. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but
I'm so familiar.
It's images not images, but like a script that he's kind of developed or his brand has developed and used. It's on his album covers. It's on his Travis Scott clothing. It's certainly interesting. Honestly, to me, it gives me the vibe of they made this guy a piece unique, and then we're like,
now
let's make it for all his friends.
Now make 200 copies of it.
Got
it.
But here's the thing. One thing is, perpetual calendars have a lot going on, right? That just by their nature, there's a lot of information there. It's open worked, so you're seeing everything. You're seeing all the subdials. You're seeing every part of the subdial all at once.
Very cool.
Which a lot of people like. I don't have a problem with that. My issue with the watch, and I thought this was kind of odd, and I'm sure there's a good reason for it. It's a perpetual calendar. It's incredibly complicated. Arguably one of the most complicated watch complications, certainly in the mass sector.
Totally.
Difficult to set. Difficult to keep up.
Pain.
40-hour power reserve. It's an automatic watch. But if you took this on a trip and you set it, and then you didn't wear it for a few days, not even a few days, like less than 2 days, it's not set anymore.
Yeah, and then you have the wonderful joy of sitting down and preparing your mind and body to set a perpetual calendar watch.
Mono pusher, perpetual calendar. Not mono pusher, but just one crown.
Right, and unlike, I think IWC is the only manufacturer that allows you to go backwards on a perpetual calendar.
And not even on all of them.
And not even on all of them. And so there you are going like, if I screw this up, I either have to wait or I have to send it into AP.
We have clients who own perpetual calendars, mostly from IWC, and they'll have our watchmaker set them, and I don't blame them. I've set them before. They're very complicated. What I like about, not all, but in my opinion, a well-designed perpetual calendar, several days of power reserve.
Right.
And, hey, what? You keep it in a winder.
Yeah.
I just solved the problem for
Sure.
you. It just seems like, wow, a perpetual calendar that's gonna stop in less than 2 days. That's a hassle. That's you got this awesome thing and it's extremely, hey, you got a Ferrari, you got your dream car, whatever that car is, but the gas tank only holds 5 gallons.
So have fun with that.
Right?
Also, it's brown on a leather strap, so it's not like you can wear it all the time. Like you can't just, pair it with anything and everything. Be like, it's okay, I'll just wear it. It's not automatic. It'll just wind itself. It's fine. No.
Yeah. And it's funny because this is AP. This is what, people refer to AP as a part of the holy trinity of watchmaking. And they're able to pull out complications and styles and all this the way other brands are not. And this watch feels like style over substance.
Okay there, Mr. Paul Hollywood. Okay. But
I didn't say it with an English accent.
No, you didn't. But I felt that the ethos was there. The spirit was there. Yeah. It's I don't know how I feel about it just yet. Again, I'm not up to speed with Cactus Jack. It's a special watch. It's a special watch, right?
It's a special watch. And realistically, we should probably be focusing on the nature of the collaboration because that's what's important here.
Right.
Which is funny because this is a watch, but we're saying the watch isn't the important part. But this more acknowledgement of a community that supports and buys these watches. I mean, I can tell you, I was in education. I work with them youths, and when they know a watch brand, it's through hip hop. Yeah, I mean, there's some of them who are maybe into watches, especially that's a growing population as it becomes more mainstream and more popular. No doubt thanks to the Timist YouTube channel.
Sure.
But,
oh, yeah.
It's, how have you heard of Rolex? Well, because it was on 8 of the 12 tracks on this album.
Right.
And so was AP, and so was Patek.
Yep. Yeah.
It becomes another term, the way Lambo or Ferrari or Cullinan. Why would you know a Cullinan? There's like 3 in this state, and they cost more than my house.
Right.
But you know them because you saw, some relevant celebrity driving one or talking about one or taking pictures in front of one.
Yeah. And the relationship or the imprint that sort of leaves on you, the relation that you have and how you tie that physical object to whatever it is that it stands for is a powerful thing. Right. And that's what kind of leads me to believe that potentially why this is done, aside from other financial, and monetary benefits, it's securing that crowd and in a way saying thank you and we see you, but also love us and know us and, strive to own one of our pieces someday. These are unnecessary, highly coveted luxury items that, for all intents and purposes, represents a antiquated way of telling the time, right?
The whole calendar.
The whole well, that's
the moon
true,
phases.
but only for 40 hours.
Yeah. And then I think my final thought on the nature of the collaboration is that collaborations are tricky things. The previous collaboration with those Marvel ones, very cool. But a Marvel movie today is not a Marvel movie 8 years ago. I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but a good point is that first Marvel movie made $1 billion. That second Captain Marvel movie made $1. I'm being, of course,
totally
inaccurate here, but they're just not what they once were.
Yeah.
Travis Scott's most recent album is called Utopia. It was fine. People thought it was fine. I'm sure some people loved it, but generally, it's kind of getting this okay. The album before that, Astroworld, was beloved. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. So you're putting this time and this energy and this money, and you're tying your name to something that is fickle because it's a trend. Travis Scott is a recording artist. There are very few recording artists who stay relevant for decades.
Truth.
There are very few fashion brands that stay relevant for decades. Even the ones that are have peaked and valleyed and come and gone and all this. So you're putting a lot into something that is by its very nature not stable.
It has a shelf life.
Has a shelf life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of the, to me, antithesis of a high quality watch.
Timeless.
When you buy a watch, you should know that you can wear that forever. You need to get it serviced, but you can wear it forever, and you can pass it down, and you can proudly hang on to it and say, this isn't a thing I bought that's popular right now. I feel confident about it today. I'm going to feel confident wearing it in 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. And I meet people who bought a watch in 1973 and they're still wearing it. It's not a theory. It's real.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not the nature of fashion, movies, anything that's a trend. So that they're putting all this time and this energy and all this good stuff into something that by its very nature won't be popular in 5 or 10 years or even far less. Not to mention, cancel culture is a very real thing. No one stays on top forever, especially when you live a controversial life. So makes me nervous about where they're putting their money.
100%. I mean, you just said that, and the first thing that popped in my mind was FP Journe. Fickle. The world, the industry, very fickle, and definitely has a shelf life. And I mean, it's called pop culture for a reason. There's cycles, there's trends. Putting, so much money, time, and energy into something that will probably not have the staying power of, I don't know, a Cartier Santos Dumont, Cartier Tank, Omega Speedmaster.
Rolex Submariner.
Any Rolex Submariner. Look at the first one, look at the current one.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I know exactly what that is. And
Hamilton Khaki Field.
Totally.
I mean, honestly.
Truly interesting. Thank you. That's a good bit of news that we just went over.
A good bit of news.
Shall we go on to the next chapter, maybe?
Yeah, I think we talked that one to death.
Okay. I have heard a recurring phrase as of late, and I was wondering if you can, I don't know if you've run into this on your day-to-day as an AD of multiple brands, but have you ever heard of the term dream maker?
The James Bond movie?
No, that's Moonraker.
Right. Yes, of course. Yeah, no, that's interesting. That's cool that you heard that. Yeah, so a dream maker, often referred to as a dream maker moment, is, I don't know, it probably exists in other industries, but it certainly exists in the world of authorized dealers. It is as simple as it sounds. It's when you make someone's dream come true.
Okay.
Especially if it's in a way they weren't expecting it. I had a moment fairly recently that I think I would qualify as one of those dream maker moments. And
do you mind sharing?
Yeah, no, it's fine. And actually, it's interesting because part of what made it such a cool moment was I didn't plan it. Okay, so one of the brands I work with on a regular basis is Rolex, and obviously it's a highly, highly sought after brand and difficult to get your hands on, especially in a manner of time that you would like.
You don't say.
It can be challenging to get your hands on one, especially when you want to get your hands on one. So most other products, you go to the store that sells it, and usually they have the product you want. They might need to, oh, hey, I don't have the blue one, but I can get it in, or something along those lines. And so I had secured a watch for a client, a Datejust 41, Rolesaur with yellow gold, Jubilee bracelet, a fluted bezel, and a champagne dial.
Beautiful.
A very kind of classic.
Yeah.
You know, not a for everyone watch.
No.
I don't think it's necessarily what everybody wants, but it's definitely iconically Rolex. It gives me really big kind of 80s businessman vibes because it's got that, two-tone, or you're not supposed to say two-tone. It's got Rolesaur.
Right.
It's got the champagne dial. It's pretty flashy, but it's pretty cool, but it's also a classic style.
It's got a warmth about it.
It's a neat watch. And what happened was I gave him a call, let him know that I had secured this watch. I'm offering it to them. And they had just recently purchased a bluesy, a Rollosaur Yellow Gold Submariner with the blue bezel and blue dial about 2 weeks before. Neither of these are inexpensive watches, right? They're both well over $10,000. So they were in no position to purchase this Datejust that offering them. Okay, hey, no problem. I wish you had let me know, but you know what? I'm not going to be mad about it. This watch will go to someone else. No problem.
Now, just so we're clear, this person had exhibited interest in this exact piece.
Yeah, they actually had given me the reference number.
Okay.
It's one thing to say, yeah, I kind of like this, and I'm open to... They were very explicit about what they wanted.
Yeah, you speak in reference numbers. That means you have sat down, you have looked at the online page, you have read all the specs, and then you read them again, and then you spoke to your significant other and friend and go, yeah, that 126600, that big red, it's just beautiful. One day. Okay.
So now I have this watch, and I'm looking to move it on to someone else. And, it's at work, and there's people coming in, and a guy comes in, and he says, I'm looking for a Datejust, and I'd like a 41 millimeter. And he goes on to describe the exact watch that I have in the back. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, like, wow, I could really just blow this guy's mind right now. And I sort of had to, I didn't have to, but I kind of wanted to talk to one of my coworkers who's been doing this longer, like, hey, is this appropriate? And they're like, it's beyond appropriate. This is a dream maker moment. Like, you can make this person's dream come true. They're dreaming of this Rolex, and this person knew that, they had even said something like, look, I know you don't have one, but I'm just curious. This is what I'm trying to get. And I mean, long story short, I was able to bring this watch out. This man was here. He was there with his wife. They were both, shocked. Like, are you serious? This is, like kind of stumbling over just the I'll take it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to be able to do something which is so hard to do. I mean, it's a joy enough just to sell someone a Rolex because it often makes them really happy, and frequently they've waited, a very long time, sometimes more than a year.
Right.
And the hardest part about the wait, maybe you know something about this, the hardest part about the wait is that you don't know how long the wait is, and neither do I, right? I also don't know. When an AD says, I don't know when this watch will become available, that's the truth.
Yeah.
And it could be a shorter period of time, but it's better I tell you a longer period of time, or realistically, no period of time. And I just say, it'll be available when it's available, and I'm going to give you a call.
Right.
And you can come and visit me, you can text me, you can email me. Like, I'm available to you, but I just can't make this watch appear
faster.
Except for this one time when I did make this watch magically appear.
It's impossible except for when some sort of miracle moment happens, and then there it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was very cool, very special. It was one of those moments where the person is FaceTiming their father.
That's amazing.
And they're just overjoyed, and they're so grateful, and almost, a joy mixed with confusion.
Yeah.
Because at one point they called a friend of theirs, and they're like, what do you mean? You just went in to talk to the guy about it. Like, oh my God, I have my wrist right now. And it's such a special thing. And obviously, like, this is transactional. Like, this man is giving me money for the watch. He didn't win a contest. Like, this person put in hard work and is now able to buy this thing. But it was really a special moment, and it was cool to do so. And it really does feel good in the world of every day I'm meeting people who would like to buy a Rolex, and every day I'm having them leave the store without a Rolex.
Yeah.
Here's this one time where not only were they able to leave with a watch, but the watch.
The watch.
It was really cool, and unfortunately they're few and far between, but there's certainly a memorable moment, and it reassures me that this is still cool and worthwhile, because frankly, selling Rolex can be a challenge. People are not happy with what you say a lot of the time, and that's not fun.
And I think it's very worth pointing out that you are, in fact, human, and you have feelings and emotions yourself.
All right, we're going to record that? I don't know. Can you delete that?
Yeah, no, we're going to leave that in because it's true. I mean, honestly, aside from you doing a job, you love watches. From our conversations, you're really into the watch world and the watch culture, and so I can't imagine it's a lot of fun for you disappointing people basically on the daily.
Yeah. Client relations is super important part of the job, possibly the most important part of the job. And, what the client wants, I'm not always able to deliver, or it's going to take a really long time. And like I said earlier, an unspecified amount of time.
Yeah.
The one thing if it was like, hey, I'll get this in 6 months.
Yep.
All right, cool. I'll talk to you in 6 months.
Yep.
But 6 months can come and go, and we might need to repeat that 6 months. And even then. So
Yep.
being able to make someone's day, make someone's week, have them, now he has this watch and he can have this watch forever, and he's
what a
happy
story.
with it. Yeah,
and what a story.
yeah.
I was with my wife and we went in. I was just going to talk to the guy and see, what's what, and perhaps just, express my desire, and who knows when, but maybe one day, and that one day was that day.
And that's something that people should know about Rolex is that, while it is incredibly difficult, start that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Say hi, and keep in mind that they most likely will not have something for you, but they might.
Yeah.
Or they might think of it when they get it in the next day. You know what, that guy has next day, he was so nice. Seemed so, I don't want to say deserving because that sounds very judgmental, but I want to make this person's day. Maybe they have a special occasion coming up. It's always worth stopping in because end of the day, it's all about relationships, and the only way to guarantee you will not get a Rolex
is to not open your mouth and talk about it.
Absolutely.
That sounds incredible. Honestly, thank you so much for sharing. I think it shines a light onto what you have to go through and sort of the magic and chance encounter that can happen potentially. So I guess the moral of the story is open your mouth, go and talk to people and take your shot and just speak your desire, and maybe hopefully a dream maker moment will happen, but never say never.
Absolutely. And I meet people all the time who they're kind of like very timid to approach even the subject. Mm-hmm. Hey, I know it's a super long wait list. Oh, I know it's going to be years. I'm sure you don't have. And it's like, what you're saying, there's a lot of truth to it. Mm-hmm. But let's not start this on this like, look, because, what if I just agree? Yeah, you're right, man.
Yeah.
It's 10 years out. Don't even ask me about it. Like, what? That's not fun. That's not interesting. Let's bring some positivity. And like, if what you want is the really, really popular rare Rolex, and we've never met, that's hard for me to make happen. And don't think it's impossible, because if you come in with a lot of energy and a lot of spirit and people like you, you'll probably get what you like.
Message received. All right. You heard it here, everybody. So open your mouth. Speak your mind.
There you go.
Shall we go into a segment that we should call maybe spicy topics?
Ooh, spicy.
As spicy. Everybody likes a little bit of spice. I'm going to propose we talk about our favorite and our least favorite watch complication.
Ooh, okay.
You're the guest of honor.
All right.
Kick us off. Best complication in your opinion.
All right. Broadly speaking,
Mm-hmm.
the best complication, it's the one you use. Okay, and let me elaborate on that, because I use my chronograph, the Speedmaster I'm wearing right now, all the time. I use it for really important stuff, like I'm timing this podcast time.
I was going to say, aren't you using it right now?
I sure am. We're over time, by the way. I use it to time my breaks, even though it's like no one's yelling at me to come back, but I want to know how long I was gone for. And I use it for useless things, like how long am I in traffic for? How long is this meeting going for? It's one touch, and I can easily record it, and I use it all the time because I enjoy it. And therefore, it's an awesome complication. But if you get a chronograph because you like the look, but you never use it, I consider that a sort of useless complication. I will add to that, I never use my tachymeter. I explain what it does a lot. But I'm like, I don't think you'll use this. And it's, it's sort of it's definitely a throwback to when it was used for automotive racing or any type of racing. And it does look cool, and the ceramic bezel is awesome and all this. I don't consider it a needed part of a chronograph, but I get why it's on watches. The ones you use are the most useful ones.
What a cop-out. Thank you for not playing it safe, Conor.
All right, date's the best complication.
Oh, shots
Everyone
fired.
needs to know what the date is.
Interesting. Okay, fair. Next is the least useful in your opinion.
So, again,
Oh, here we go.
all right, let me just say it.
Oh, okay.
There is a host of complications that you're going to see extremely sparingly. And I don't mean flyback chronographs. I mean ones that I wouldn't even know where to start with them. The retroponte chronographs and, all these insane complications, which are a huge flex in terms of watchmaking.
Sure.
And that a watch can do that at all is amazing.
100%.
But it's very expensive. It's extremely hard to service. And I think that's a factor that people don't factor in when they're both buying a watch, either new or used, when they're keeping a watch for a long time.
Right. It doesn't end with the transaction where I give you money, you give me watch.
There is
over a 20-year period.
There are watches made by Longa and other amazing, beautiful pieces that are insane in how they work and how they're assembled. And oh my God, do you never want to have that serviced? Will it be expensive? It'll be very expensive.
Extremely, yeah.
And you'll be annoyed at that. But what if I told you it'll take 8 months?
Lovely.
What if I told you it'll take 8 months and then not be perfect? And you're paying for all this and you don't have your watch. More complex the watch is, the more complex the watch is. It's called a complication for a reason.
Right. And the more complex your ownership and relationship with said watch becomes. It doesn't end when you pay the big bucks and now you have the thing, because if anything goes wrong with the thing, it's going to cost a small fortune to maintain, to repair, to upkeep, and to insure. And then, of course, it'll take a lot of time, because that's also a factor. Time is finite for us, because we're here a certain amount of years on this earth. So that's something that a lot of people don't kind of think about or talk about. That is time you don't have that object that you spent a boatload of money on. So you're not enjoying it. In fact, it's probably bringing you the opposite of joy.
And you got to think, these insane complications, there's not a lot of people who can work on them.
Right.
That isn't a watch tech. That's not a watchmaker. That's like a master watchmaker. The example, when I told you earlier, I used to work with Omega, and when the Omega rep came to visit, we were talking about the 321 Speedmaster, right? The Ed White. Beautiful watch, really cool, highly sought after. He said there are now 2 watchmakers who can make and service that movement. And Omega is huge. Now that's one watch, but that's one watch caliber.
Right.
And that's a chronograph. It's a complicated chronograph, but it's not these insane complications. So there's not a lot of people who can work on them. It's very slow work. You can't rush any of this work. If this person is already working on something, they can't work on another thing.
Right.
So it's just a really complicated thing. And frankly, what it is it's not satisfying for the owner.
No.
Most people I talk to have these kind of watches have some sort of regret about them. Not because they don't like the watch. They all liked it. They bought it. They're happy to own it. But the owning, servicing process of these watches is not fun, not quick, and incredibly expensive.
Just for context for our viewers and our listeners, Omega is owned by the Swatch Group, and the Swatch Group has at their disposal vast watch brands, all with their own service centers and watchmakers. So take that into consideration when you're saying, if Omega wanted to, they could tap Swatch and go, we need more qualified personnel to work on the 321 caliber. But even so, with that wide network of talent, they have 2.
Yeah.
So that's ridiculous. So most widely used complication you're saying is the one that you use. And
the best one.
The best one. And in your instance, it's the chronograph?
Yeah.
Okay. And the least is the...
high horology complications that are beautiful to behold and a wonder that they exist, but are an absolute nightmare to own and service.
Thank you. My turn.
Your turn. Now give me hyper-specific ones, because I went broad as heck.
Sure. Yeah. I'm going to say best complication is, in my opinion, the GMT. I just like knowing what time it is in some other part of the world instantly. I also happen to work with teams that are kind of scattered throughout the world. And so it's nice to not have to do the mental math. So see how that's how you answer that question. It's very quick and to the point. And my least favorite complication, I mean, I don't want to say it's a cop-out. I like all complications, but probably outside of the flex that it is, I'm going to say the tourbillon. I don't see it. I'm not impressed by. Sorry, let me take that back. I am highly impressed by the technical marvel that is a tourbillon and the spirit in which it exists.
If I was wearing a Mario Kart Tac Heuer tourbillon right now, you wouldn't be able to record this podcast. You'd be so lost in the spinning gizmo that is my watch.
That's just because I'm easily distracted, okay? Don't twist it. But yeah, I'm going to say GMT as my favorite complication, even though I have yet to own a GMT. There's nothing in that watch box right there.
Sheesh.
That has a GMT function. Well, I'm going to say the Citizen Pro Master has a world timer. Not exactly the same. But yeah, the complication that I'm least enthusiastic about is probably a tourbillon. Very impressive technically, but...
It's kind of the ultimate throwback to what was an important part of watchmaking at one point.
True. Nowadays, it doesn't quite serve that purpose anymore, other than, appreciation for the craft. I mean, it is truly something beautiful to behold and look at.
Coworker of mine just showed me a Zenith double tourbillon. Is that twice as good or twice as bad? If I may, I'd actually like to go back to that Dreammaker conversation we were having.
Yeah.
It comes in a lot of different forms. The one I mentioned earlier is arguably the rarest type, where someone just says, "Do you have this watch?" And then suddenly I do, and it's like magic. That's uncommon. What happens much more frequently, and hopefully you and all your listeners get this story or will have their own version of the story, and it's often referred to as the call.
Right. Yes. I have had.
You've gotten the call.
I have gotten the call. It was amazing. More on that later, though.
More on that later. So the call is essentially when the AD gives you a phone call and they're offering you the watch, most likely, hopefully, the watch you asked for. Now, sometimes there's a variation in that. Look, I know you want the smooth bezel, but I have the fluted bezel, something like that. But the goal is to get you the watch you want. And it's not always Rolex. Sometimes it's something else, right? We associate it with Rolex, but it really exists for all brands because every brand has an uncommon watch. And every brand has a hype watch. And sometimes those watches are not easy to secure, and they're just not in the case. Even if you're not this Trinity or associated, or it's not 10,000, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
They all exist, and that call exists on every level. And it's an exciting thing to do. It's a nerve-wracking thing to do, but it's fun, okay? And so I thought it'd be fun if we gave a call right now.
You have somebody?
I have somebody. I have a watch.
That's awesome.
It's someone you know. It's someone you introduced me to.
Okay. Who is it?
He came in. It's Jace.
Okay. Yeah.
He came in.
Nice.
We met. This was months ago. Super great guy.
Let's go.
Awesome story. And I just literally a couple hours ago secured for him the watch he asked me about, I don't know how many months ago, a few months ago, right?
That's amazing. That's incredible. Let's do it. I
think we should call him, right? I mean, hopefully he's cool with it. We obviously won't publish it without his permission, but I think this would be awesome.
That sounds incredible. Oh my God. Yeah, let's do it. 1 second. Let me...
You can call him?
Yeah. Okay.
Call him.
You ready?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Hopefully he answers. I hope he answers.
He's not going to answer.
That'd be funny. Of course, he's not going to answer.
He's not going to answer, yeah.
Yo, man, how's it going? Are you driving right now?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
No, I'm good. What's up?
Oh no, I was just curious. Hey, 1 second. Give me 1 second. Okay, I got somebody here that wants to talk to you. 1 second.
Hey, Jace, it's Conor from. How you been, man?
Oh man, you guys should have called me. Are you guys having a drink or food? Or?
We did call you.
Oh, I know. I'm in Arlington, man. You gotta give me like 4 hour heads up to do that.
No. We can get a drink sometime soon. Actually, this is. James and I are just hanging out, just being a couple of guys hanging out, but this call actually has some business connected to it, believe it or not, because I have... Yeah. So I actually happen to have a 126720 VTNR, a GMT Master 2, known as the Sprite, on a Jubilee bracelet that I would like to offer to you.
Let's go. I'm in.
Literally just came in today, and honestly, I thought of you right away.
Can we set up tomorrow? I mean, I don't get off until 7. Is that okay? You're not gonna sell it, right?
No, man. If this watch is for you, so if you're telling me you're buying it, I'm holding it for you.
No, I will be on it for sure. That's exactly. Yeah, these people doesn't know how to turn.
Yeah, man.
Shit, almost crashed my truck.
Don't crash your car. Don't drive safely, okay?
You got me all weirded up. So tomorrow's the day, huh?
Tomorrow is the day, yes, sir. You hit me up. Let me know. I'll be there at 7:00. You hit me up.
No, yeah. So I mean, man, you got me so fired up right now. But no matter what, as soon as I get out, I'll head over there.
Your Rolex has come in. Your day is here.
Finally, how did you pull that off? How did you manage that to happen?
Hey, man, it's just part of, it's all about a patient wait, and then the watch comes in, and you were patiently waiting. So that's all it takes, man. Honestly.
You know what? Because I want to make sure that you're on there on the day, because you're part of this milestone.
Who, me?
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, the Trinity's got to link up.
I would have not accomplished this if I didn't know James.
That's not true at all. But I'm happy to have been part of this journey, and just grateful to be able to be present for when this happened, because it's pretty special. I mean, you literally got the call, and I was here for it. So that's just a gift in and of itself.
Awesome, man. Well, I can't wait, and I'll text James too, just in case. I give him a heads up. I know he's always busy at work.
Yeah. Let me know. We'll talk about it, and we can coordinate tomorrow or Friday. And let's do it. Let's make an event of it, man.
Hell yeah,
dude! I'm so excited. Oh my god, that's crazy.
Congratulations, Jace.
Well, man, I'm excited. I can't wait. I'll message you and James tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Sounds good.
All right, brother. Get some sleep tonight, okay? You're gonna need you fresh for tomorrow.
Oh man, you're making my Monday hard, man.
No, your Monday's about to be great. Next Monday, you'll be wearing a brand new Rolex.
I hate to be very explicit, but I feel like I'm having a boner on it. Awesome, man.
All right, congrats, Jace. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, thanks, man. Okay, bye-bye.
Congratulations. Talk soon. Bye.
Hey, James, I will see you tomorrow or Thursday for sure.
Absolutely. Bye.
Okay, bye.
That was awesome. Connor, what do you call that again?
Oh, well, I mean, I probably wouldn't actually call it this because it's a little bit much, but, it's a dream maker moment.
All right. Dude, that is incredible. I'm so happy that we were able to do that. Like, that's insane. And for you to keep that in your back pocket and you didn't, let me know, that's awesome.
Making dreams all happen all over the place. But, honestly, it's just, he's a great guy. He waited a long time. He was very clear about what he wanted and why he wanted it. And, the fact that I'm able to make this happen is just a perk of the job. But, it's just something that I'm happy to do. And I know he's going to be overjoyed for realistically the rest of his life. And so that's an awesome thing. And I'm so happy for the guy.
And on that high note, it's time to conclude episode 1 of the Timist Podcast Series. A sincere thank you for hanging out with us. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself and had some fun along the way. If you did, then please push all the buttons that will help you hear more of us in the future. And of course, a special thank you to our guest for this episode, Conor, who is a gentleman and a scholar. I appreciate you coming in and spending some time with us. If you want to connect with Conor, you can do so on his Instagram account, which is Watches and Blunders, with an underscore between each word. I'm the Timist. Be well, and I'll catch you in the next one.